Hi everyone, and welcome to Books, the JCAM Library's book recommendation show. I'm Jocelyn Codner, the Reference and Outreach Librarian. Before we jump into today's books, I just wanted to put out a quick reminder that today, November 10th, is our last Scare the Stress Away Spooky Crafts and Meditations event. That's happening at 4:30 in room 309A in the JCAM library, and the theme is It Was All a Dream. This session of Scare the Stress Away is inspired by The Marrow Thieves by Sharia Demolin. The Marrow Thieves is a YA dystopian novel that focuses on a universe where the world has been ravaged by the climate crisis. As a part of all of this, humans have lost the ability to dream, and it's driving them to madness. The only people who can still dream are the Indigenous peoples of North America, and the secret to them being able to still dream lies within their bone marrow. As you can imagine, this doesn't bode well for the Indigenous populations. It leads to non-consensual bone marrow harvesting and death for many of them. Sharia Demolin is herself Indigenous and is from the Georgian Bay Metis community. As always, snacks and supplies will be provided, and you can get to a link with more information and the registration form in the description below. November is Native American and Indigenous Heritage Month, and as always, the JCAM Library likes to celebrate and observe these heritage months by sharing relevant resources. And a way that we do that is by putting together virtual displays with tons of content and information, both academic and recreational, that you can access from home. November is extra special because we also have a digital crowdsourced mapping project called Whose Land Are You On that we encourage all members of the Chatham community to participate in. The purpose of this project is to educate and also encourage the use of land acknowledgements. I'll put links to both our November display and our Whose Land digital mapping project in the description below for you to access whenever you'd like. Today I'm going to be highlighting some Indigenous authors, artists, and creators. My first book is Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. Tagaq is an award-winning Inuk artist and musician who puts her Indigenous identity at the forefront of all of her work. Split Tooth is an experimental and vulnerable book that blends fictional prose with memoir, myth, poetry, and visual art. Split Tooth follows the story of a young pregnant girl as she grows up in Nunavut in the 1970s and tries to navigate the complicated world of humans, animals, and spirits all around her. It's a brave and ambitious work, and has some of the best cover design that I personally have ever seen. Look at that. Tagaq is also a visual artist and, as I mentioned before, award-winning musician, and she's best known for her creative take on Inuit throat singing. I'll leave links to her musical work in the description below, and I highly recommend you take a moment to check it out. It's incredibly moving and interesting stuff. And you can check out Split Tooth from the JCAM Library today. My second book today is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. Booley is an enrolled member of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. Firekeeper's Daughter follows Donis Fontaine, a biracial teen who feels out of place in both her identities as white and Ojibwe. She's really smart and kind of nerdy and is very interested in science and chemistry and medicine, both traditional and Western. When teens that she knows start dying, she puts her skills, knowledge, and unique identities to use as she starts to investigate the tragedies on the nearby Ojibwe reservation. This book is technically YA, but it deals with a lot of intense subject matter, and it's enjoyable for adults to read as well as teens. If you like contemporary crime fiction and thrillers, you'll definitely like Firekeeper's Daughter. You can check it out from the JCAM Library today. My third and last book today is an absolute classic. Ceremony by Louise Marmon Silko. Silko is a member of the Laguna Pueblo tribe. Ceremony was published in the late 1970s and has garnered much acclaim. It follows a young Laguna Pueblo man named Teo after his return from being held prisoner of war by the Japanese during World War II. Like many vets and POWs, Teo suffers from PTSD and other afflictions of war, but unlike many others, he refuses to descend into drunkenness, addiction, and senseless violence. Instead, he goes on an intellectual and spiritual journey back to his Indigenous roots, and he finds refuge there. Ceremony is a classic for a reason, and it addresses the incredibly important role that Indigenous men played during World War II, and how little support they received when they returned home. You can check ceremony out from the JKM library today. Us librarians understand that this point in the semester is no joke. You're probably working incredibly hard on your class projects and research papers right now, which is why I'd like to remind you that the JKM library has a ton of study space available. We have plenty of individual study rooms, group study rooms, study tables, and individual desks that you can use to your advantage at this time. You can follow the link in the description to reserve a study room for a specific time frame, and then when it comes time for your reservation, just come into the library, go to the main desk, and check out your key. Our second floor is also devoted to quiet study and has small tables and individual study carrels that are first come, first serve. If you need somewhere to go to help you focus and manage your time better, consider the library. And that's all for this episode of Books. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check the description for all those important links that I've been mentioning. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. That link is also in the description. You can find the library on Instagram at JKM Library and on Facebook at Chatham's Jenny King Mellon Library. Again, I'm Jocelyn, reminding you that if you have any question at all, you can always ask a librarian. Happy reading!